Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we are absolutely not just doing some generic book summary. Instead, we're going to extract the hidden thinking system behind Peter Thiel's 0 to 1. We're talking about the underlying mental models that will fundamentally upgrade how you build, how you act, and honestly, how you see the entire future. Let's get into it.
We're going to kick things off by completely shattering a widely held belief. We are all taught that competition is the lifeblood of capitalism, right? But the underlying mechanics actually dictate that they are total opposites. I mean, think about it for a second. Capitalism is literally premised on the accumulation of capital. But what actually happens in a perfectly competitive market? Well, your margins shrink, and all those hard-earned profits just get competed away.
So this contradiction creates a massive curiosity gap for us. If competing with your rivals just destroys your margins and drains your resources, what actually generates lasting generational value? If the standard playbook of just trying to beat your neighbor always leads to a zero-sum game, well, we need a completely new framework to understand how real progress actually works.
To answer that, we have to uncover this hidden progress system. It basically charts globalization on the x-axis against technology on the y-axis. And this concept right here, this is the structural blueprint of our future. When we talk about progress, we're really talking about moving along one of these two axes. You see, globalization just means taking things that already exist and spreading them around the world. But technology? That means creating something that has absolutely never existed before.
Now, most people completely miss this subtle distinction. Copying what already works is just horizontal progress. It takes us from 1 to n. Like, if you build 100 typewriters based on one existing typewriter, that's horizontal. But creating something entirely new, going from 0 to 1, like inventing the word processor out of thin air, that is vertical progress. And sure, vertical progress is extremely difficult because it requires you to do something nobody else has ever done, but it's literally the only way to build the future.
All right, moving into Section 1, the ideology of competition, and why it's actually a destructive force.
We have all been conditioned to view competition as this great sign of value, but in reality, it's a disastrous trap. There's a massive cognitive bias at play here. We tend to perceive all firms as practically identical, just clustered together in this messy, competitive blob. But the reality is that monopolies and competitive firms are entirely binary states of existence. The differences between them are profound.
The deeper principle here is that under perfect competition, all your economic profits just get competed away. This traps you in a brutal short-term struggle rather than allowing you to actually plan for a long-term future. I mean, if you're fighting a daily battle just to survive and match your competitors' prices, you don't have the capital or even the breathing room to innovate. Competition becomes this blinding ideology. It literally blinds you to the fact that you aren't actually creating anything new.
So, Section 2, the monopoly mental model, and how we actually go about escaping competition. How do we actually escape that trap? Well, by completely redefining the word monopoly. We aren't talking about illegal bullies or government favorites here. We're talking about a company that is so incredibly good at what it does that literally no one else can offer a close substitute. And you build that using 4 actionable pillars: proprietary technology, network effects, economies of scale, and fierce brand loyalty.
But listen, there is a very strict decision rule for that first pillar. Your proprietary technology must be a staggering 10 times better than its closest substitute. We're not talking 10% better here, 10 times better.
Because if you don't hit that 10x threshold, you haven't escaped competition at all. You've just joined the crowd. Let's say you invent a wind turbine that is, 20% more efficient in a lab. The real-world expenses and risks of bringing that to market will completely wipe out that tiny advantage. You have to create an entirely new category of abundance, or radically improve an existing solution to the point where it literally feels like magic to the user.
Okay, Section 3, leveraging the power law, which is the real hidden system here.
Once you establish that unique monopoly, you trigger the absolute core mechanism of wealth creation, the power law. In reality, the way this distribution curve plays out is wild. After a decade, a single dominant winner eclipses everything else combined. It generates more value than all the other attempts put together. This is fundamentally entirely different from a normal distribution curve.
So, why do most people miss this? Well, it's because early on, linear growth and exponential growth look exactly the same. It completely blinds us to the fact that a tiny, tiny few create almost all of the value.
We live our daily lives expecting average, normal outcomes, so we totally fail to recognize that the universe we're actually building in is intensely asymmetric.
Moving on to Section 4, Mastering Distribution and the Mechanics of Actually Selling the Product.
Now, having a 10x product is amazing, but it just isn't enough on its own. We really need to dismantle this delusional myth that great products simply sell themselves. They don't. Poor distribution will cause failure regardless of how brilliant your technology is. You know, the engineering mindset often views sales as kind of superficial or sleazy, but the hard truth is distribution is an absolute essential that has to be engineered directly into the design of your product from day one.
You absolutely must perfectly align your sales strategy with your price point to avoid falling into what we call the distribution dead zone. It's a massive trap. Think about this gap. If your product costs, say, $1,000, well, you're way too expensive for a viral tweet to drive sales. But at the same time, you don't generate enough revenue to pay a human sales team to go out and close deals. You just end up completely trapped in the middle.
The practical application here comes down to a hard, unbreakable mathematical rule. The net profit earned from a customer, their lifetime value, must always exceed the amount you spend to acquire them. That's your customer acquisition cost. If you can get just one distribution channel to work within these strict constraints, you have a great business. But if you try for a bunch of channels and don't nail a single one, you're finished.
Finally, Section 5, Escaping the Lottery Ticket and Taking Absolute Control of Your Future.
Look, all these frameworks we just talked about, they are completely useless if you don't view the world through the right lens. You have to transform yourself into a definite optimist. That means being a builder who meticulously plans and executes a clear vision. The future isn't just some hazy blur of random possibilities, it is a very specific destination that you are directly responsible for constructing.
Just contrast this with the indefinite optimist. That's someone who just rearranges existing capital and basically waits around for luck to strike. And obviously that's a strategy that inherently leads straight to stagnation. Our modern world is totally full of indefinite optimism right now. People just assume the future will magically get better, but they don't have a concrete plan to actually make it happen. They assemble portfolios, they follow the latest trends, and they just wait to see what sticks. But here's the reality check. You cannot simply iterate your way from 0 to 1.
You have to fiercely reject the unjust tyranny of chance. You are not a lottery ticket. If you're going through life viewing your business or your career as just a game of luck, you've already psychologically prepared yourself to lose.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that true breakthrough success is a product of deliberate design. It's about agency. It's about extracting value from unexpected hidden paths. You know, every moment in business happens exactly once. The next Mark Zuckerberg is not going to create a social network. If you are just copying exactly what the greats did, you aren't actually learning from them at all. I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. Are you going to just keep copying what already exists, forever caught in that trap of horizontal progress and zero-sum competition? Or are you finally ready to build the future? Thanks so much for joining me in this explainer. It's time to start looking for those hidden paths, escape the crowded middle, and start building your 0 to 1.